podcast where sales and marketing talk. Welcome to another episode of Frenemies. My name is Julia. I'm here to represent marketing and I'm talking to
Your sales guy, your beloved sales guy, Ahmet Albayrak.
and today we want to talk about playbooks. Why are they necessary? What should be in them? And what do we need?
Yeah, exactly. And I recently hired 4 employees, so it's like I just realized, how important it is to have a good playbook. So it's like yeah, it also allows me to easily onboard them. But I didn't have it yet because I'm really new company, so that's why I'm just in the process of creating that. So would love to talk about that with you, my dear Julia, dear marketing
Yeah, just to
professional.
add that as well, the beloved marketing person.
Yeah, I just, it's like treat you well because I realized in the last episode I was a little too harsh. And I just like I want to make it up for that. It's like as a sales guy, I need to do that. So, it's like to maintain the relationship in a good way. So maybe in the future I can sell you something. So
Yeah, it's starting off like that, and then you're gonna, dive back into your typical mode.
maybe I don't know.
I feel like there's not enough companies that have playbooks. And I feel like the feedback I get a lot of times, or what I hear, is that people say, well, it takes away the ability to be creative and to be innovative, because then everything is standardized, and especially in sales, it just doesn't work to, tell everybody how they should do their job, which quite honestly
Exactly.
is not my understanding of a playbook. So let's dive a bit more into, as you're in the process of creating one right now. I've just created one at the company that I started a few months ago. So let's just dive into what should be in a playbook for it to be efficient and have impact, but also to not take away the ability for everyone to do their job as they see fit.
Yeah, what I know, it's like I also realized I was introduced to some playbooks when I entered, so when I started for a new company, and I also, it's like was in some companies that has no playbook. They like do your job, It's like, but how, it's like how did you do your job? What was working for you? I need some input in order to start something. So that's why it is really important to have one, and with like gray lines, not like so strict. So you have to say that, you have to say this. This is the email that you have to send to that type of person. They should give some ideas because sales is for me especially. It's like about creativity. It's not about being a robot and saying this. We are not telemarketers. It's like the time for telemarketers is over. It's like when you hear someone talk, you can easily identify when you call someone and that someone talks from a script. You can easily understand that, you know and in order to avoid those type of situations, you have to give the SDRs the space, but you have to create the fundamentals, like so like building a building. It's like just like, hey, this is our fundamentals, build upon your own character. How do you want to sell it? Are you more interested in selling, like doing more social selling? You can do that. Are you a cold caller? You can do that. It's like, do you want to send creative emails, email heavy outreach? You can do that. So just like giving the outlines is really, really important for me. So what about you?
Yeah, and I think another thing why playbooks are so important is because if you have this like written down, for me, this is like a mode of operation. It says this is like the minimum viable solution. This is like the tools we need. These are the materials we need to actually succeed and have everybody, do what they do best. And with a playbook and getting all of this down, first of all, doing this exercise is a great collaborative exercise
Mhm.
between sales and marketing. So, big fan. But also it allows to set this like standard. This is, this is the new standard that we want to run with. And that
Mm-hmm.
actually enables like new sellers coming in not having to run, after topics, and having to be like, but I need this and I need this, because you have this minimum like viable solution you agreed on, to say, okay, we want to open, or we want to target a new industry. These are the things we need to even do that. We want to launch a product. These are the things we need to actually have sellers do that job, without single sellers having to figure that out, struggle, not achieve their targets, because they're missing these things. But also to mention, I think sales playbook is something that is very common.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I like to do, so just talking kind of about the leveling of playbooks,
Mm-hmm.
is have a demand generation playbook. And
Yeah.
what I understand is that is basically it shows an entire rundown of the entire buyer's journey. So
Mm-hmm.
it shows, or it pins down both like kind of the demand generation parts, channels you use, and assets needed, all of these things. But then also throughout the funnel or the buyer's journey, what do we need? What does the process look like? It's also very operational, actually going in
Mm-hmm.
detail with what tools are involved, talking CRM. How does one step get to the next? What are the steps every person involved has to do? Because this also writes down when is the handover from marketing to sales. And if, for example, that lead doesn't have the qualification, when does it get sent back to marketing, and what does marketing do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, this shouldn't be something marketers should have to figure out on a case by case basis. Like you shouldn't have, I don't know, leads coming from a campaign, they're of low quality, and then having to figure out what do we do with those leads. This should already be kind of a standardized process and a plan, to
Yeah.
think about this strategically, and not act and trying to like take out fires step by step.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like when you said that, I just realized, for example, getting the inbound leads from the marketing side, and and know what to do with next. So what they have been told before. So what they have been shown. It's like, is it which type of let's say it's through an ebook download. Let's say it's just for an example. It's like, what type of information did they get from us, from our side? So I can feed them in a way that they can book meeting at the end. So I need to, it's like, before not knowing them and giving them the same information that they received before, it's like, okay, they can easily get bored. What are they talking about? Everyone talks the same thing. So there is no holistic approach, and it's like there is no coherence between what marketing told them and what we are telling them, we are saying them. It's really important in that sense as well. What also really important is what I see, for example, especially, it's your first job, you don't know much about, being an SDR. When you are more experienced, you can know you can actually know what you need when you first start at one company. Okay, I need this, I need that. But especially the newbies, like you just entered the sales, and you have to really have something for them as well. Like, they need to understand the it also needs to include some of the training about sales as well. In that sense, hey, our messaging, our positioning is this, and provide we deliver these messages like that. It's like you have to show how we do that, because it's like, without knowing this, because in most companies the training is just based on, just simple stuff. They don't teach them. Most of the sales guys realize by themselves how to sell. It's like they just make a research. They follow some sales creators like me. Anyway, so just like they learn from them. But before that, because you cannot give some advice for all of the sellers, all type of, because the products are different. Like the ICPs are different. You can personas are different. Everything is different. It's like, that's why it should be really personalized to that, unique to that company, to that brand. So that is also really important in my opinion.
I agree. Okay, so now we still haven't talked about what needs to be in a sales playbook. So what are the things and the information you need in a playbook to, as you say, to get onboarded, but also to proficiently do your job and to sell as much as you can on a long term basis.
As I said, I'm looking for it's like the whole beginner perspective. So how I utilize the tools first. It's like the most efficient use of the tools that we are currently using. Let's say if it's outreach, it's like what is our it's our it's if it's the CRM. So how we use it, because every company uses uses those tools in their own way. So I need to know them to not mess up with things, so that someone else try hours to fix it. So I need to know that at first. So how we use it. The second one would be the basic stuff. Hey, to understand what my ICP's daily workflow is. So we need to give exact information. Hey, our ICPs, let's say, I don't know, marketing managers. Marketing managers' daily workflow is this. Their usual struggles are this and these points. And we are coming at that point and solving these problems. Our value propositions are these. So at the beginning, it should be um, these things should be included in sales playbook, basically. And upon that, after that, so you get the basic fundamentals. I don't need, as a seller at the beginning, too much information about my product. So in a sales playbook, we should it should include some basic information about the product, but the most necessary ones. It's like what is related to the, it's like the futures that is related to the problems that we are solving. So I can easily say, okay, we have this future for that problem to solve. So I can, when I talk to the clients, I can easily say, hey, we have actually this future for that. And they should be included a script, of course, the sequences that we have, the nurture sequence, like cold outreach, the inbound leads, for the inbound leads, how we act, what is the procedure. There should be definitely some not long videos about those stuff. So there should be some written version, and also in a video included as well, like from Loom. So easily to create like 5-minute videos to explain the whole situation. Because most of the times, it's like you cannot, the tools that you want to use, you should see them how others use it. So in order to, it's like imitate them at first, and get used to those tools. Also, I would love to, from it's actually I would level it down, like level 1, level 2, level 3, the sales playbook, and I would add uh information about our competitors as well. So it's like when someone says, hey, we are using actually x solution for that. Okay, actually with X solution we have disadvantages, we have that disadvantages, to give them, like it's like not rounded answers, so give them more exact and precise information. So in time, it should also include some tips and tricks for productivity as well. So it's like, because most of the times it should be included in every sales playbook. So most of the people are stuck at the working really productive. So it's also really important to show them, hey, it's like this is your calendar, you can use this, taking notes, it's like following up those type of stuff, and show them, actually you have to lead people who read this playbook to, it's like understand that, hey, you should exactly do this with that way, but in that way should be like, you have to find your own way in that way. I don't know if it was clear. So basically this, it's like not too much complicated, you should keep it really simple. I was like, when it's, it's like I saw some playbooks, and I was like, these are too many documents, it's like documents are everywhere, because it's, it's like when there is more bigger companies, it's like everything, there's a playbook from, it's a document from 2 years ago, but it's now obsolete to use that. I was like, it's not updated. I was like, it should be really simple, and really it should actually like creating a buyer journey. It's like it should be you have to see every step clearly. So what to do next, what should I do, etc. So that should be basically for a sales playbook.
And I think you mentioned a lot of interesting points there, but one thing I would like to pick up on is the CRM bit. Because I think one thing that is also really important to understand, both for new sellers coming in, but also for people that already have been, like for anybody, I think it's really important to understand what in the CRM is like kind of the most important parts. So, for example, what are the numbers and the things that management looks at? So, what are numbers that you should never meddle with out of kind of your own purpose of, not wanting the pressure because there might be a big deal in the pipeline or things like that? And likewise also, what are the numbers that marketing analyzes and needs to have proper numbers and data to actually base their decisions on. So I think that is an important bit that I feel like a lot of companies neglect to share early on. But as a seller, I think it's very easy to kind of forget sometimes the bigger picture because you're very busy with your
Yeah,
own work, you have your own motives, your own targets, so you can forget that like this little thing might have a big impact somewhere else in the company, or somewhere
exactly.
else, especially like higher up. So you want to be informed on what numbers does your manager look at, and does they look at like with their managers and so on. The other part I wanted
Yeah.
to ask about when you kind of talked about the leveling of a playbook. So where do you see the cadence coming in? Are you like, do you like when there is a standardized kind of cadence process of this is how we always react and reach out to certain leads? Like, oh, we always start with a phone call and come this and come this, or what
Mhm.
is your opinion on that?
It's actually, it's like firmly believe that companies should have an really exact ICP. Let's say, it's like there's, but it's not easy, especially for young startups. Like, it's like you have, because you want to test few ICPs, personal, possible ICPs in a way. For that instance, you should have several cadences on that, and so with different versions. And managers should keep them always updated, so according to the data that they get. Because let's say I have a team of 4 SDRs as of right now, and I created a cadence for them, and I will monitor the answers. It's like the reply rates, the conversion rates. It's like what they are good at. It's like the all the replies. I will analyze them and I update the whole sequence according to that. It's like live cadence for that particular ICP. So we have a particular ICP on this project that we are working on. We know who we have to reach out. So this is an exact their pain points, it's like their current situation. That's why I know that's why we have a certain cadence. But let's say to an early stage startups, it depends. It's like you're selling to, you can sell to three types of personas, three different personas, three different ICPs. So that's why you should have three different cadences. But as I said, it's like you are at, I encourage them start with our own cadence. But if you have any ideas, you want to test something for yourself, of course you're free to do that. And you can actually say, okay, it's like, hey Ahmed, I tried this, it worked really well, and we can work on it together and make the changes for the whole cadence, for example. You have to be really open to change it uh, after a while, because it's like you have to see and you have to always improve your messaging in that sense.
I'm very happy to hear that because I have to say, from the marketing side, I'm also a fan of standardized cadences. Just again because, as you say, they give a base layer of this is how we want to run this process.
Yeah,
And they make everything trackable. So as you say, you can actually analyze and see, is this working, and if it's not working, is it due to seller performance, is it due to level of information provided, is it due to leads? I mean, there can be a lot of factors, but it just gives you a good base layer, and then to personalize and adjust going from there. But again, this is
exactly.
where we come to like this thin line of standardizing it and giving a mode of operation versus cutting innovation and creativity. Because, I mean, also the sellers I worked with, one person writes really good emails and therefore just prefers to write emails, where another seller might, like, be like really good at getting through like reception, and get to the person in contact, so they want to, like, have all phone calls because that's just what they feel comfortable
Yeah.
with. And obviously you want to make use of, these strengths every person has, and allow them to work with these strengths, instead of saying, I don't care, you have to like do email and you have to do like phone calls.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you cannot use just one channel in outreach. So there should be others as well. So you have to have at least a minimum of all of that. So for example, for emails, you like phone calls. Of course you can add more, you can to customize your cadence. You can add more phone calls, but it's like emails should be, let's say, we can more uh, go with a generalized email in your case. Like, don't have to make too much personalization. So you go more a general one. But if you get any replies from that, so it's a good sign. It's like at the end we have monthly quotas to hit. So in order to hit those, so you have to it's like use all possible channels to reach those guys. Because most in some cases, let's say some if you have the right product, if they really solve their problems, you will get a meeting. It's like, but let's say so you called the marketing manager, but she's really busy. She couldn't answer the phone, but it's like an email. She saw the email, saw the value in it, so she booked the meeting. So there's always thinking about those possibilities. And so that's why it actually keeps me going. It keeps me using every method. So hey, LinkedIn, maybe she checks her LinkedIn. Okay, it's like I use LinkedIn as well. So maybe emails too. It's like phone calls. I did phone calls too. So, but you can like divide it into it's like give more like 40% calls, like 25% emails, so you can make the adjustments for yourself in the future. But at first you cannot say without trying anything and say, hey, I'm more this guy. Dude, calm down. At first, just try a little bit. So it's like find the best channel. Because in some cases, what I also see for some companies, for some particular ICPs, so email is the best channel to get the answers. When we are selling to universities, and I was like, they are really busy when we are calling them, but they always check their emails because they can get emails from students, and they have to answer those emails from students. So my best way is to say I definitely send good emails to them in order to get a response to book a meeting. Or for instance, some others, they don't check the position is not, it's like you don't have to deal with too much emails, but it's like you're much more a guy, it's like on the side. Let's say it's a production company of any kind of stuff. So so you can reach out them via phone. Oh, this is a better way to do that. So that's why you have to be always flexible, or depending on some situations.
I agree, and I think that's what makes it difficult as well. Because on top of that, every seller has like a preferred outreach method and a strength in where they are best or what they prefer. It's not just up to them, right? It's also what does the buyer actually prefer. So you can have a buyer that might have read your emails or just deleted them, and it's a way better way to reach them, like via LinkedIn, because this is just like where they check it out. So it's yeah, that's where again it's this difficult trade-off, because it's not just down to what the seller prefers, but I mean we have the same on the marketing end, right? It's not just about like what channels you like or think are fun.
Yeah.
It is where you find your target audience. So if you don't find them on TikTok, then as much as you would maybe like to try it out, it might not be the best method.
Yeah. This is actually the good side of being in sales and marketing. So you have to always discover something, and there's always, every person is unique, so with their needs, preferences, it's like that's, you have to adapt to all of them. And so you get to know some extra experiences from them as well. That's why I love sales in that sense, because I talk with a lot of people throughout the day. With some of them, it's like we get into some conversations, and then we are connected on LinkedIn. We arrange a separate meeting, besides from selling something. And it's like you build a relationship with a new guy from whole new area. And let's say I'm from Turkey, Istanbul. It's like there's no way to learn what is going on in Halifax, Canada. But I met with a guy from there, and when we catch up time to time, I can learn. Hey, it's like we have actually this type of event here. So it is enhancing my vision. It's like my point of view to the world, to the things. It also helps me to be more clear with my goals. It's like also it gives me also some business ideas as well. Hey, actually, we could do that, we could do this, and it's always good to build your network on that.
I have to say that you lost me there when you said that, like, oh, and every person is unique and be personal. Yeah, no, that's not what I do in marketing. I only talk in quantities. Did you forget? You
Yeah,
all are just
of
like
course, yeah. So
hundred thousands of very unique people. But for me, it's just all about finding the sweet spot where I need to personalize to get you guys in.
yeah, but actually, it's like there are some tools that I say, it's like at least you can hyper personalize it in a way, so not too personalized, but it's at least you can, it's like make it to their own name and company name, it's like some basic stuff. And they, for example, visit your website, hyperize, I guess, it's like there was a tool like, it's like when you visit the website, it says like, welcome, Ahmet. Dude,
Yeah.
how do you know my name?
Yeah, but this is where it gets difficult, right? Because I mean, obviously, this can also have an aspect of like too much and creepy. Like, I don't think I would
Yeah,
want every website I visit to say, "Hi, Julia." Like, that could also be a good
okay,
starting point to like scare me off and be like, nope,
yeah,
too far.
yeah.
That's exactly what it's about, like figuring that out. Just because we talked about the sales playbook, now in the end, I one thing I just wanted to mention on like the marketing end and why I'm also a fan of like whatever you call it, campaign playbook, demand gen playbook. But what it does is, or what it can do on the marketing end, is also again to like agree on this minimum viable solution. What are the assets and all of these things we need for different activities, which can really help with the planning part as well. So you don't start with every new product launch or every campaign you're planning on like, what do we need? How long do we need to actually execute and create this? But you already have agreed on that. So you can basically, kind of create a project plan with that. So you can, really plan back and say, well, if we get started right now, this is the earliest we can launch. And that is a really good method also to communicate with top management, because obviously there can come a certain pressure on like, faster timelines and things like that. And it's a really good mode to be like, well, this is what we need. This is what we
Yeah.
can what we can do with our human powers, unless we involve AI. So yeah, that's why I'm in favor of playbooks on the marketing end as well.
Yeah, yeah. We love marketing. Of course, we need that.
I'm a bit surprised. I think we're nearly done with the episode, and so far you have behaved very nicely for today.
Yeah, it was really hard, I kept my mouth shut.
Okay, so before we leave this, anything to add?
Follow, subscribe to our channel, and it's like leave some comments on your thoughts about sales playbooks. If you have any questions, you can reach us out on LinkedIn, or send me just an email, or you can give me a call. You can, if you are really good seller, you can find my number as well. So and yeah, we would like to hear from you guys as well. To it's like, what do you think? What is it? It's like, is it really? What is your experience? Let's say you think like, hey, I'm a newbie. I don't know anything about sales playbook, but you have experience. Let's say you entered the company with no sales playbook. What was your experiences? Would be nice to hear about that as well.
That was it on playbooks for today. We could of course talk plenty more about standardization and playbooks, but there needs to be a bit of space and topic for the future. So talk to you again next week, where we'll talk about how to land your first position in sales and marketing.
Yeah.